sir. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. First of all, let me tell you something.
Yeah.
Let me ask you guys a question. Who would you take, Joe Theismann or Tom Brady?
Who would I
Tom
take?
Brady.
I mean, I think that's pretty obvious.
Listen, who you gonna take, Joe Theismann or Tom Brady? I'm taking Joe T. I got a guy who owns this CE construction company. He loves Tom Brady. I think Tom Brady. I ain't gonna go there, but Tom Brady can't even pack Joe Theismann's jock.
Why? I like this.
Explosive
This guy-
intro.
this guy-
I like this. You're defending your guy.
Yeah, hold on. This guy Andrew Bernstein. That's all we debate all day about Joe Theismann and Tom Brady. I say Tom Brady can't pick up a first down. He has no athletic skill. He's just surrounded by good people, but the guy is in the toilet, in my opinion.
Wow, I
Okay.
love this.
All right.
In my opinion, he's in the toilet. I take Joe Theismann. I take Matty Ice any day over Tom Brady.
Don't you take Matt Ryan over Tom Brady?
Let's go through all the quarterbacks you would take over Tom Brady right now.
Would you take
You're all
Mark?
day.
I take Joe Theismann first. I take Matty Ice second, and I might take Doug Williams third.
Would you
But I'm
take?
not going to take Tom Brady to lead my team nowhere.
Would you take Mark
I
Rippon?
really want to say something else, but I'm sort of restricted to go there.
Dexter, in fairness, we dumped that because I don't want you to get in trouble.
Yeah, or us to get in
Okay,
trouble.
Lord.
well, I just want to put this to rest.
Holy
That
smokes.
CE Construction is the largest Mid-Atlantic construction company in Mid-Atlantic, and we do all the work for A.J. Dowowski, the Lerner Group, Landmark Group, and we one of the leading companies in the country.
Oh my God!
And you're an
That
amazing
was
spokesman.
shot out of
And I got a guy who's the owner here. The owner here is Andrew Bernstein, and that's all he talks about. Every day he talks about Tom Brady.
Good
And I don't
Lord.
like that.
I wasn't prepared for this. I'm
Hey,
sorry.
Dexter. This is the biggest curveball maybe in 10 years.
Dexter, how did you deal with
I don't
the guy,
like it.
Dexter, how did
Yeah.
you deal with the guy like Tim, our former Junkies intern, documenting your life?
Well, I think that's admiration that Tim recognized some talent, and only through God's grace and mercy that I've been able to weather the storm, and I'm here to tell it and to talk about it, and for that I'm grateful.
Brett, are
But I
you?
just get tired of coming in this front door every day. This guy challenged me about Tom Brady. I tell him Joe Theismann every day. I tell him Matty Ice. I tell him Doug Williams. He wants to tell me, you're fired, you're fired. He acts like Donald Trump. He keep telling me, you're fired.
I don't
I want
understand.
to say, listen, Tom Brady is garbage. He can't pick up a first down.
Dexter,
He has no athletic skills.
I
He's
understand.
surrounded by people, but Tom Brady is garbage.
My God, he hates
Garbage.
Brady. Hold on a second. Let me ask you a question, Dexter. I understand you backing Joe T and Doug because you played with those guys, but the Matty Ice thing is just a curveball for me.
Oh, my God.
Why do you like Matty Ice so much?
Well, Matt Ice is a pure passer.
Is he a great
can pick
athlete?
up a first. Well, I don't know if he's an athlete. He's from Boston somewhere, but I tell you what, he's much better than Tom Brady.
Man, it's just a lot of Tom Brady.
This guy,
Wait a
this
minute.
guy here, that's all he talks about every day. He acts like Donald Trump. That's the only thing they talk about. It's Tom Brady. Donald Trump talks about Mario sweating. That's because he knows the secret. He's sweating too.
We've lost control.
He was talking
officially.
Rubio,
It's
not
fine.
Mario. Talking about Rubio sweating
I
on
could
Mario.
be confused, but how many Super Bowl rings does Matty Ice have?
0.
Oh, okay.
And he's not exactly a burner in terms of like athletically.
All right.
Hey,
I'm just
Dexter,
confused,
I
sorry.
want to talk a little bit about this A Football Life, which comes out
Why?
Friday night at 9 o'clock.
This
So,
is better.
Okay, let's talk about
one thing which you talk about, I guess, is that you credit our man, we're friends with him, Steve Buckhantz, for saving your life. Tell us about that.
Well, I tell you what. That's a time that I felt sort of I didn't want to talk about it, but I feel the liberty to talk about it, to tell my story. Hopefully, it will help somebody else. I left Tampa Bay. I left Tampa after playing with Tampa. Came back to Reston, Virginia, and my son was in trouble, and I was in trouble too. So I can't go help a troubled person, but I went anyway. I felt like that was my duty as a father. But I went down there. I started using drugs. I was using drugs before I went there, but I was on the fence. I was off the fence, on the fence. I checked in a hotel, somewhere in Houston, Texas, and I was really depressed, and I didn't know nobody to call, so I picked up the phone. I called Steve Buckhantz. I started telling him about I want my ashes to be cremated at RFK Stadium and that this kind of stuff. And next thing I know, here come 5, 6 police in the door. 5, 6 police officers. 5, 6 police officers come in the door, charging me, throwing me on the bed, handcuffing me, taking me down to Harris County Jail.
They might be on their way back to your place.
Hey, Dexter, why do you think, Dexter, God bless Steve Buckhantz, why do you think so many people have given you in particular so many second chances? I think people deserve them, right? I believe this is a redemptive society and people make mistakes. All of us do. But you, despite all of your public battles, people seem to love you throughout all of it. What is it about you think that the public has captured? I don't know, that the public has bought into?
Well, I'm a nice guy. I come from a Christian background. I got off root, and I just think that by nature I have respect for my elders. I think that's where it started from, my Christian values. I wasn't out here raping kids and slicing people on the butt and taking off running. You know, I had some problems. I addressed it, and I'm over it now.
Right.
It's by grace. It's grace and mercy that I can stand here and talk to you today, but I got to hear this guy talk about Tom Brady all day.
Hey, why don't you open up and let your personal savior, Tom Brady, save your life, Dexter?
Pardon me?
Never mind. You're going
Joined by
deep.
the great Dexter Manley and Tim Rump. There's a documentary called Dexter Manley, A Football Life, premieres Friday,
Tim's
9
getting
p.m.
aced out of this interview.
sorry, Tim.
NFL Network. Hey, remind me, Dexter, did you have a little bit of a feud with Mike Ditka back in the day?
I did. I tell you where that started from. We was playing the Minnesota Vikings on a Thursday night in the Metrodome before they tore that garbage down, and the 49ers was going to play the Chicago Bears, and I think for the Chicago Bears played. Anyway, Mike Ditka threw his gum out and threw it at a woman in the stands. I call him a bum. I say he's a bum. So he said, "What does that guy do? That guy has the IQ of a grapefruit." Okay, so that touched me in a way because I had such a secret that I didn't want nobody to know about my secret, that I was functionally illiterate.
That you were
functionally illiterate.
Functionally illiterate.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. Go
I
ahead.
was functionally illiterate.
Right.
You know what functionally illiterate is? I stayed on the Beltway when I got in Washington. I didn't know where to get off at. I stayed on the Beltway for hours because I couldn't read. I didn't know where to get off.
So how did you finally get off?
Well, I had to follow Darryl Grant. I called him. He come tell me, come pick me up and show me how to get off.
It's the greatest story ever.
You couldn't
It's the
read
best
the exit.
story ever.
Wow.
Well, couldn't you remember the numbers?
See, you guys think that's funny, but that's real. That's real stuff.
Right. No, I believe
No, it's
you.
not
It's not funny.
No, it's just funny the way you describe it. That's all.
Do you resent the teachers that would pass you year after year as you were going through elementary school, junior high, high school?
I don't resent them. No, because I address my issues. What I do, I just thank God that I had the fortitude to take off the Boy George makeup on November the 18th, 1985. That's when we played the New York Giants on a Monday night, and I watched Joe Theismann go down. I knew I had to take off the Boy George makeup. I couldn't keep living this facade life.
I love the Culture Club reference.
I didn't realize you liked Karma Chameleon.
Dexter, how did you deal with your coaches if you were functionally illiterate?
Cakes, you can't make this
Was
stuff
it
up.
just as simple as I just go after the quarterback? How did you deal with, like, for us, playbooks are very complicated.
Well, I'm glad you talked about that. Joe Gibbs and Richard Pettibone, Torgay Torgerson, those guys could tell you I didn't know the football plays for the first year, but I was such an aggressive player, I make a lot of mistakes. And Joe Gibbs had the compassion to stay with me, and Richard Pettibone was a great defensive coordinator, so those guys kept staying with me. And sooner or later, redundancy, you pick up the plays. Redundancy, you pick up the plays. I would hear a call, I had to go back and ask Darryl Grant, what's the call? He wouldn't tell me the call. So we get in fights on the field. You know, and all of a sudden, for years, we stayed with 43 jet, 43 jet, 43 jet, 43 jet, 43 jet, 43 jet. That's how I picked up the call.
All right, what did 43 jet mean?
Kill the quarterback.
That's the defense.
Yeah.
I know, but
I'm on the outside. I go get to the quarterback.
That's probably just it.
Like I said, I just diagrammed it.
Right.
See, 43 jet. When I first came here, I was on special teams. I was sensational in my opinion, and so therefore I made my break in that way. Wayne Severe, I love Wayne Severe. He liked Dexter Manley. Jack Kent Cook liked me, and so I liked myself. But I kept looking at my shoelaces for a lot of years until November the 18th, 1985. I stopped looking at my shoelaces when I watched Joe Theismann go down because he built the bridge for me.
Mm-hmm.
I was able to take off the mask and really go over to the Washington Lab School. And the Lab School is it's a school for kids with learning disabilities and adults.
Right.
Okay, and I went to that lab school. When I first went there, I was on a second grade reading level at 27 years old. And I started reading, it took me about a good 6 months or a year, I could read the Washington Post. The Washington Post is a 10th grade reading level paper.
Wow.
And where I would go, and when I,
It's funny right there, by the way.
I went to the lab school, and by that time I had to leave the Redskins. I went to Houston, Texas, and I would take these, I've had a couple of brain surgeries, so I have a tendency to forget. So what happened, I went to Houston, Texas. I go to the literacy foundations all across this country. Each state has a literacy foundation. I would hook up with a literacy, and they would help me out. And I went there. When I came back, the Redskins said, well, we don't want you. I went to Phoenix Cardinals.
Right.
The Phoenix Cardinals, I went there. I contacted the Literacy Foundation. They came out. They would tutor me. When Joe Bugle was the head coach there, I would see the tutor 2 or 3 days a week in Phoenix, Arizona, in Scottsdale. I left there. I went to Tampa. I did the same thing. Everywhere I went, I kept pursuing my academics.
Yeah.
Right, but hold on,
and so that's...
Well, hold on. So you already told us a story about the Beltway. How did you, just day to day, get by? How did you pay your bills if you couldn't read the bills that are coming through the mail? How did you write checks? How did you go to restaurants? How did you function?
Sometimes I go to restaurants. I just order what some of my teammates order. Most of the time I hung out with Darryl Grant, sometimes Mark May, and I would follow them. I would order what they order.
All right. How did you pay your bills?
Well, my first year in the league, I bought a girl in from Oklahoma State. She was with me.
Okay.
And she paid the bills. I didn't have to pay no bills. And so, but I can count my money. I could count my money.
I bet you could.
I could count my money. By that time, I got married, and my wife, Glenda, started paying the bills, and she didn't know I was functionally literate. I went to Hazleton after Joe Theismann broke his leg, and I couldn't even sit in the group and spell about. And Red Fox's nephew told me, his name is Ray, he said, Manley, you can get help. There's help for you. So I called back from Hazleton, Minnesota. I called Glenda in Reston, Virginia, and I told her that I couldn't read or write. We had been married about 3 years. And so she told her mother, that was an article in the Chicago Tribune about the Washington Lab School. So I went to I came back after I left treatment. I went to the Washington Lab School. They tested me on a second grade reading level. I kept looking at my shoelaces. I was 27 years old, and I just kept having shame and degradation. But I took the mask off, and I decided I'm going to do something for myself, because people who can't read or write, most of them go to prison, stay in jail, they own drugs.
Dexter, it's a very uplifting story.